The Galactic Council was the oldest power in the universe. 47 advanced species had signed its first charter. They had seen empires rise and fall. They had watched stars go supernova and new worlds be born. For 12,000 cycles, the Council's word was law. No species could break their rules and survive. They controlled trade, war, and the very flow of history. And in their infinite wisdom, they decided to outlaw Earth. It happened in the year 2147 by the human calendar. A human delegation had traveled to the Council's capital world, a massive ring-shaped station orbiting a dying blue giant. The humans had come in peace. They wanted to join the galactic community. They brought gifts, art, music, samples of their best food, and data on their technology. They were hopeful. They were proud. They were also very, very young. The Council's meeting hall was a giant sphere. Each species had its own floating platform. The air was a mix of different gases. Some delegates breathed methane. Others breathed pure nitrogen. Humans needed their oxygen masks just to stay alive. The leader of the Council was a Xylosian named Vorn. He was 8 feet tall, with 4 arms and a head like a praying mantis. His voice was cold and sharp. The species known as humanity is denied membership, Vorn announced. The human ambassador, a woman named Elena Cross, felt her heart sink. She had expected negotiations. She had expected questions. She had not expected an instant rejection. May I ask why? Elena said through her mask. Her voice was calm, but her hands were shaking. Vorn clicked his mandibles. Your species is too violent. Your history is a river of blood. You have fought wars over land, over ideas, over the color of your skin. You have built weapons that can destroy your entire planet many times over. You are a danger to yourselves and to the galaxy. Another delegate spoke. It was a floating jellyfish-like being from the Andromeda Galaxy. Its name was unpronounceable, but humans called it the Whisper. We have observed your broadcasts. Your entertainment is filled with murder and explosions. Your leaders lie and cheat. You have poisoned your own world. You do not deserve the stars, Elena tried to argue. She talked about human art, about love, about the kindness of strangers. She talked about the scientific discoveries and the way people helped each other after earthquakes and floods. But the Council had already made up its mind. Silence, Vorn commanded. The Council has voted. Earth is declared a quarantine zone. No ship may land there. No species may trade with humans. You will be contained on your planet until you either learn peace or destroy yourselves. This ruling is final. Elena and her team were escorted back to their ship. As they left the Council station, they saw other alien ships turning away from them. The quarantine had already begun. Earth was alone. The journey back to the solar system took 3 months. During that time, Elena sent constant reports to Earth's United Nations. The news was bad. The Council had cut off all contact. Human ships that tried to leave the solar system were turned back by Council patrols. Some were fired upon. Dozens of human explorers and traders were captured and held in alien prisons. Earth's governments were furious. For a few weeks, there was panic. People hoarded food. There were riots in some cities. The stock markets crashed. The future looked dark. Many humans believed the Council was right. Maybe they were too violent. Maybe they deserved to be locked away. But something else happened. A different kind of human emerged. Not the fearful one. Not the angry one. The stubborn one. The one who looks at a wall and says, I will go through it, over it, or under it, but I will not stop. A woman named Admiral Akio Tanaka stood before the United Nations. She was the commander of Earth's small space fleet. It was not impressive. The humans had only 12 warships, all of them built from salvaged alien technology. Compared to the Council's thousands of ships, it was nothing. But Admiral Tanaka had something the Council did not expect. They think we are violent, she said to the assembled leaders. They are correct. But they misunderstand why. Our violence is not chaos. It is not madness. It is a tool. When we are cornered, we become dangerous. When you threaten our children, we become monsters. The Council has made a very old mistake. They have confused our kindness for weakness. She laid out a plan. It was insane. It was impossible. It was also the only plan they had. The first step was breaking the quarantine. The Council had placed a ring of warships around the edge of the solar system, just beyond the orbit of Neptune. Any human ship that got close was warned to turn back. If it did not, it was destroyed. 3 human ships had already been lost. Admiral Tanaka did not try to fight the ring directly. Instead, she used a trick. Humans had been studying the Council's technology for years. They knew the alien ships used a specific kind of sensor that could not see through dense clouds of metallic dust. So they built hundreds of small, unmanned drones. Each drone was the size of a car. Each one carried a simple engine and a payload of crushed iron. The drones flew toward the Council ring in a wide formation. Then, at the same moment, they exploded. The iron dust spread across millions of miles of space. It was not a weapon. It was a curtain. The Council's sensors went blind. Their commanders panicked. For 12 hours, they could not see anything. And in those 12 hours, Admiral Tanaka led her 12 ships straight through the dust cloud and past the ring. They did not fire a single shot. They just slipped through like ghosts. The Council was embarrassed. They had claimed Earth was contained, but 12 human warships were now loose in the galaxy. They sent hunters after them. But the humans did something unexpected again. They did not run. They did not hide. They attacked. The first target was a small Council outpost on a moon called Krell-4. The outpost had a single defensive cannon and a crew of 30. It was not a military base. It was a refueling station. But it was also a symbol. Admiral Tanaka's ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel right on top of the outpost. Before the defenders could react, human marines had boarded the station. They did not kill everyone. They took control. They stole the fuel. They copied the data files. Then they left. The entire operation took 11 minutes. The Council was shocked. No species had ever attacked a Council installation. The punishment for such an act was total annihilation. But the humans did not care. They had already been outlawed. What worse punishment could there be? Over the next 6 months, the human fleet grew. They did not build new ships from scratch. That would take too long. Instead, they raided. They attacked supply convoys and stole raw materials. They captured enemy ships and reprogrammed their computers. They found abandoned alien shipyards and reactivated them. Human engineers were geniuses at making broken things work. Give them a pile of scrap and they would build you a cannon. Give them a cannon and they would build you a warship. Word began to spread across the galaxy. The humans were not just surviving. They were winning. Small victories, yes. A captured freighter here. A stolen fuel depot there. But each victory made them stronger. Each defeat of the Council brought new recruits. Not all humans were soldiers. Millions of human civilians had been scattered across the galaxy before the quarantine. They had been traders, doctors, engineers, and teachers. When they heard that Earth had been outlawed, many of them were afraid. They tried to hide. They tried to blend in. But when they heard that a human fleet was fighting back, something changed. They stopped hiding. They started helping. A human doctor on a distant colony world saved the life of an alien official. In gratitude, the official gave the doctor access to a military database. The doctor copied everything and sent it to Admiral Tanaka. A human mechanic working on a cargo ship sabotaged the engines of a Council warship, leaving it stranded and helpless. A human teacher organized a network of couriers who smuggled messages and supplies between human cells across 1,000 light years. The Council had outlawed Earth, but they had not outlawed humanity. They could not. Humans were everywhere. They were in the ports, the factories, the hospitals, and the schools. They were not a single planet anymore. They were an idea. By the end of the first year, Admiral Tanaka's fleet had grown to over 100 ships. They had established a secret base inside an asteroid field. They had recruited former enemies who had grown tired of Council rule. They had even built their first original warship, the Sword of Sol. It was ugly. It was made of mismatched parts from a dozen different species. But it was fast, heavily armored, and carried more missiles than any Council ship of the same size. The Council finally decided to take the threat seriously. They sent a full battle fleet to crush the humans. 500 warships, the largest force assembled in 1,000 years. Their commander was a legendary admiral named Zorith of the Regelian Empire. He had never lost a battle. He was cold, patient, and utterly without mercy. Zorith found the human base. He did not attack immediately. He surrounded it. He waited. His plan was simple: starve them out. cut off their supply lines, let them run out of fuel, food, and ammunition, then move in and destroy them at his leisure. For 3 weeks, the humans were trapped. Their supplies dwindled. Their morale dropped. Some of the younger officers wanted to surrender. But Admiral Tanaka had another plan. It was the most insane plan yet. She sent a message to Zorith. It was a simple message. We offer a duel. 1 ship from each side. The winner takes all. If we lose, we surrender unconditionally. If you lose, you leave and never return. Zorith laughed when he read the message. A duel. How primitive. How barbaric. But he was also proud. His honor demanded that he accept. He chose his flagship, the Imperator, a massive dreadnought with enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The humans sent the Sword of Soul. The 2 ships met in empty space. No other ships were present. The Council watched through long-range sensors. The humans watched through their own telescopes. It was the strangest battle in galactic history. The Imperator was bigger, stronger, and more advanced. Its shields could absorb any attack. Its cannons could tear through any armor. By all logic, the human ship should have been destroyed in seconds. But Admiral Tanaka had not sent the Sword of Soul to fight. She had sent it to die. The human ship charged directly at the Imperator. It did not dodge. It did not fire. It just accelerated. Zorith was confused. He ordered his gunners to open fire. The first volley tore through the Sword of Soul's shields. The second volley ripped open its hull. The third volley should have destroyed it completely. But the human ship kept coming. What Zorith did not know was that the Sword of Soul had been built with a secret. Its reactor was not a standard power source. It was a bomb. A very old bomb. The kind that humans had once used to destroy their own cities. The ship was a missile. A manned missile. When the Sword of Soul was less than 1,000 miles from the Imperator, Admiral Tanaka gave the order. The crew evacuated in escape pods. Only a skeleton crew remained. They aimed the ship directly at the Imperator's bridge. Then they detonated the reactor. The explosion was blinding. For a moment, it was brighter than the nearby star. The Imperator's shields held for less than a second. Then they collapsed. The dreadnought was torn in half. Zorith died instantly. His flagship became a cloud of debris. The Council fleet watched in horror. Their greatest admiral was gone. Their most powerful ship was gone. And the humans were not done. From the asteroid base, the rest of the human fleet emerged. 100 ships. They did not attack the Council fleet directly. They attacked the supply ships, the fuel tankers, the repair vessels, the things that the big warships needed to function. Without their support network, the Council warships were useless. They had fuel for maybe 2 more days. They had ammunition for 1 major battle. And the humans knew how to fight a running war. They did not stand and fight. They hit and ran. They attacked from unexpected angles. They used electronic warfare to confuse enemy sensors. They dropped mines in the path of pursuing ships. After 48 hours, the Council fleet withdrew. They had lost 30 ships. The humans had lost 12. But more importantly, the Council had lost its reputation. Everyone in the galaxy had seen what happened. A handful of humans, using scrap and courage, had defeated the mightiest fleet ever assembled. News of the battle spread like wildfire. On 100 worlds, oppressed species began to hope. On 1,000 more, humans revealed themselves and joined the fight. The human fleet grew from 100 ships to 500, then 1,000, then 5,000. Admiral Tanaka did not call herself an empress. She did not want power, but the humans needed leadership, and she provided it. She organized the fleet into fast-moving strike groups. Each group operated independently, but all followed the same rules. Attack Council supply lines. Free human prisoners. Liberate alien worlds that had been crushed by Council taxes and laws. Offer protection to any species that wanted to leave the Council. Many species accepted. The Council had grown corrupt over the millennia. It taxed the poor to enrich the rich. It used its military to enforce unfair trade deals. It had forgotten its original purpose, which was to promote peace and cooperation. The humans reminded the galaxy what freedom looked like. The second year of the war was different. The humans went on the offensive. They attacked the Council's shipyards. They destroyed its communication relays. They raided its treasury worlds. They did not try to hold territory. They did not have the numbers for that. Instead, they made the Council's empire too expensive to maintain. Every time the Council built a new warship, the humans blew up the factory that built its engines. Every time the Council trained a new admiral, the humans assassinated him. Every time the Council raised taxes to pay for the war, the humans helped the taxpayers hide their money in untraceable digital accounts. The Council was bleeding. Its members began to argue. Some wanted to negotiate with the humans. Others wanted to use even more force. A few secretly sent messages to Admiral Tanaka, offering to betray the Council in exchange for protection. By the third year, the Council was falling apart. 3 major species withdrew their support. They declared neutrality. They stopped paying taxes. They stopped providing ships. The Council tried to punish them, but the humans protected them. A Council fleet sent to attack a neutral world found itself facing a human fleet twice its size. The battle lasted for hours. The Council lost. The final battle took place at the Council's capital ring. The humans had surrounded it. Admiral Tanaka gave the Council one last chance: surrender, disband, let the species of the galaxy rule themselves. The Council refused. They activated their planetary defense cannons. They sent out their last remaining warships. It was a desperate gamble, and they lost. The human fleet was too large, too fast, and too clever. They used drone swarms to overwhelm the defense cannons. They used electronic pulses to disable the warship's targeting systems. They used boarding parties to capture the ring's control center from the inside. Within 6 hours, the battle was over. The Council's leadership surrendered. Admiral Tanaka stood in the same meeting hall where Elena Cross had been rejected 3 years earlier. The floating platforms were still there. The mix of gases still smelled strange. But the power had changed. She did not destroy the Council. She did not execute its leaders. Instead, she made a speech. It was broadcast across the galaxy. "You outlawed Earth because you said we were too violent," she said. "You were right. We are violent. But our violence has a purpose. It protects. It defends. It fights for those who cannot fight for themselves. You used your power to control. We use our power to free. The Council is dead. Long live the free species of the galaxy." She then announced the formation of a new alliance. It was not an empire. She refused to call it that. It was a commonwealth. A union of equals. Any species could join, regardless of their history or technology level. The only rules were simple. Do not enslave. Do not murder. Do not steal. Everything else was up to each world to decide for itself. Over 1,000 species joined in the first year. Many of them had once been enemies of humanity. Now they were allies. They shared technology, resources, and knowledge. They built new ships together. They explored new parts of the galaxy together. They created something the Council had never allowed: real peace, based on respect, not fear. Earth became the capital of the Commonwealth. Not because humans demanded it, but because other species wanted it there. They saw Earth as a symbol. A planet that had been declared too dangerous to exist had become the center of a new civilization. Human cities were rebuilt with alien architecture. Human food was mixed with alien spices. Human music was blended with alien instruments. It was loud, chaotic, and beautiful. Admiral Tanaka retired from the military. She became a farmer on a small world at the edge of human space. She grew apples. She said it was the hardest fight of her life. The apples, she explained, did not care that she had defeated the Galactic Council. They still needed water and sun and patience. Elena Cross, the first ambassador, became the Commonwealth's first chancellor. She wrote the new laws. She met with leaders from 1,000 worlds. She never forgot the day she was rejected. She used that memory to make sure no species ever felt that way again. The Council's ring was turned into a museum. Visitors could walk through the old meeting hall. They could read the original charter. They could see the platform where Vorn had declared Earth outlawed. And in the center of the hall, there was a small plaque. It had no name. It had no date. It just said, "They thought we were too dangerous to live. We proved them right." The human empire, as others called it, was not built on conquest. It was built on survival, on stubbornness, on the simple idea that no one has the right to tell another species how to live. The humans did not want to rule the galaxy. They wanted to make sure no one else could rule it either. And so the galaxy changed. Not because humans were the strongest, or the smartest, or the oldest, but because they were the most human. They made mistakes. They fought among themselves. They argued and disagreed, and sometimes even hated each other. But when the moment came, they stood together. They faced the greatest power in the universe and said, "No, that is the story of how the Council outlawed Earth and how humans fought back and formed an unstoppable empire. But it is also the story of how an empire became something better. A commonwealth, a family, a future that no one had imagined, but everyone could share."